extend our gratitude to those who came before us and have called this ancestral land home for generations. We respect and honor the treaties, reaffirm our relationships with one another, and move forward together in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration. We'll call to order at 7 p.m. That the agenda for the January 27th, 2025 meeting be approved as amended or presented and attached to form part of the said minutes. Councillor Vic. And anybody on council have anything to add? Any issues there? Michelle, what about administration?
Not from administration.
Okay. All those in favor? That's carried. And conflict of interest. Does anybody have anything to declare? Jeff?
9.2.4.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, if you find you missed it, just make sure you let us know. That the minutes of the January 13th, 2025 regular meeting of council and the minutes of the January 13th, 2025 and January 21st, 2025 special meetings of council be approved as presented. Everybody have a chance to read through those minutes? Anything? All those in favor? That's carried. That the RCMP report for the month of December 2024 be received and filed. Councillor Stewart. And now we will turn it over to the staff sergeant.
Perfect. So I'll go through the numbers. Pretty standard month for the winter for us. Now for those, I explained it at the first meeting, but since I've been there, we've changed council. So how I do our policing reports is I do it for the entire area that we police, including Smeaton. So that includes all the way out to Candle Lake, all the rural area, Smeaton and Nipawin. I do that every month. I have 17 stakeholders, I believe. So trying to do individual numbers each month would just cripple me almost. I couldn't do anything else other than that. But what I will do is I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I can do for time, but I'd like to do it at bare minimum every 6 months, is give you a snapshot or numbers strictly for the town of Nipawin, which is something I should be able to do. So I'd give you for the whole area and then just for the snapshot of Nipawin for that 6 months or for that year. I'm going to try and do it quarterly, but I'm still seeing how much time I have to get you guys the numbers. And I'll be doing that next one here at the end of our fiscal year, which is going to be March 31st. Having said that, come around March 31st, we started for a new fiscal year. So I'll be drafting a letter basically saying what, it's our community consultation letter, which will be seeing what you guys feel is in need of policing in your community. Right now, I took over what's called our Detachment Action Plan, or DAP, and that's what the areas that we like to focus on. I took it over from the last commander, and I believe on there, stuff like community involvements in the schools, traffic offenses, drugs, and prolific offenders. Usually that's what most towns want to see, and that's usually what I end up getting my guys to focus on. So prolific offenders, stuff like checking curfews on people that have been released by the courts, and making sure they're abiding by their curfews and abiding by their conditions. They don't want to listen to their conditions or curfew, we send them back to the court, and hopefully they send them to jail. Other than that, what I like to do is throw it out there as if anybody has any questions from the last month or anything like that, and if I can't answer those questions, I can definitely find the answers and relay them back to the town administrator and to field them out where they need to go.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any questions today on the report or anything else? Okay, I had one. I just noticed the Traffic Safety Act section. It seemed pretty high.
So in the last almost 2 months here right now, We have had a person, a member, that is working over detachment with traffic services. So you're gonna see a lot more traffic, you'll see a traffic services car around a lot more, as where before they used to have to come from Prince Albert or from Melfort, would be our two closest units. We have somebody stationed, working out of our office for time being. So that's why these numbers are a little bit higher. Also, the guys from Prince Albert and Melfort do like to come up here, and work. So they were up here several times this last month, working. That's why you see the inflated numbers. And remember that it's every ticket or every warning generated is one file. So it's not like a group, 6 tickets or 10 tickets is one file. It's one ticket, one file. So if you have a group of 5 or 6 traffic services members come in and they write 10 tickets each, it doesn't take too long to get those numbers large. Or they write a half a dozen warnings each while they're up here. It doesn't take that much longer for them to go. It is a good thing. It gets visibility out, and when you're stopping and running people, they usually have either warrants or you're on conditions. The LPRs that you see on the car, on the top of the cars that kind of flash, those run license plates, and if there's anybody associated with warrants or conditions to those license plates, it flags them, and so that is a good thing. They're really expensive, so the traffic services members have them on all their vehicles because SGI provides funding for them, and we do have one on one of our vehicles here in town, so which is really unique for detachments because I've never been in a detachment that has one of those. So it's unique for Nipawin, which is really good.
Are they Are they maintenance free? Do they take a lot of extra time? Or
No, they take
dump them?
no extra time. The only time they take is when we have to switch out a new vehicle. It takes a little bit to move it over to a new vehicle, but there's zero maintenance to them. They're all up. Everything's uploaded electronically, through a modem, and they're very little maintenance to them,
Cool.
which is surprising.
I was just gonna mention to the council, if they're interested, you guys are still doing that ride along
Yes.
program, so feel free to get a hold of them and.
Yeah, if
Spend some
anybody
time in the
is
car.
interested in coming out and seeing what my guys do on a night shift or day shift, usually it's where a lot tied to the desk because that's when you're able to call, if we're working on a fraud file, you can call banks or you can call complaints back during the day. But if anybody is interested in doing a ride along, just let me know, and it's a simple form and background check, which takes about 10 minutes, and we can put you in the front seat of a car and send you out for the evening with one of my constables. Sometimes it's an eye opener, sometimes it's a slow night, all depends.
All right, well, thank you very much.
No problem. If anybody has any other questions, town administrator has my email, has my phone number. Feel free to email me or call me with anything, and I'm usually pretty good at responding hopefully quickly, but if not, I will respond and get you the answer you guys want or need. So
Excellent.
perfect. Well,
very
thank you for having me.
much. Thank you. One more?
Just one little comment
Not a problem.
about the ride along. My cousin was ex Edmonton City Police, and I went for a ride along with him one night, and we actually got an armed robber that night.
And if you guys know of anybody who wants to apply, we're hiring, and we are taking applicants now again out on ride along. So we had a young 20-year-old kid that was interested, and we just took him out here the other day, and he's now put him in touch with a recruiter and through the application process. So if anybody has anybody that's interested, by all means send them my way, and we will put him in the front seat of a cruiser and see if he or she wants the job.
It's a
Not the
neat-
driver's seat though, eh?
No, unfortunately, no.
You guys ever gonna bring back the auxiliary program?
I was an auxiliary for 2.5 years before I joined. It's a great program. I'd love to see it. Lots of liability with it, and with that member that was auxiliary that was shot and wounded when the member was killed in Alberta, they really stepped back in it. I personally would like to see it, but I don't know. BC has gone to a tiered system where they have like a tier 1, a tier 2, and tier 3, and your tier 1 is like wears like a golf shirt and they go to community events and that kind of stuff. And usually auxiliaries want to be in the vehicle, hands-on doing stuff, and we just aren't there yet. But I would like to see the program expand again, and hopefully it does.
All right,
much, guys.
We'll stay in touch.
You bet.
Okay, if there's no other questions amongst ourselves, all those in favor? That's carried. That the financial statements for the period ending December 31st, 2024 be approved as presented. And, do we have anything to add on this report or information? Okay. Do we have any questions or comments? Joyce?
Just a question, is this all inclusive for December, or is there more to come?
There is more to come, yes, thanks.
Just, and this might be a very easy question to answer, just I've never looked at a report in this detail yet, and this is for the full year. The only thing that stood out to me is, in some cases, the budget versus the year to date, there was big differences in some of the stuff, and a lot of it was like the wages and benefits. So that stood out to me. I was unsure, like, if the budget for the wages and benefits was,
Can I speak to that for you?
Yeah.
So, Paymate is the, software program that we use for doing payroll.
Mhm.
And, we've had some challenges in getting it set up. So what we budgeted for with numbers and how the system is actually able to, export those amounts from the system, into our Munisoft program, which is what we use for generating news reports. They don't necessarily talk to each other the right way. And so what happened after the budget was passed is that we've discovered that some of those amounts are not reporting the way we anticipated that they would. And so in the overall picture, the numbers look good, but I can explain to you each and every department where those amounts should have gone and where they went.
Oh.
So it's just a matter of cleaning up the two programs, and unfortunately they don't just work in tandem with each other, so there's a lot of manual entry.
that's something that is being like worked at right now.
Yeah,
It's in
I think
okay.
we've got it figured out for 2025.
It just threw me off a little
Yes,
bit.
I agree.
Joyce?
Yeah, yes, I noticed that too, so I was wondering if it was a software issue.
Yes.
So are you able to do journal entries to get a proper report for the functions?
We have a report that we can run that will give us accurate numbers.
I'm thinking for the financial statements for the auditor.
I will have that report to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That the financial reports for January 27th, 2025 be approved as presented. And do you have any questions or comments on this report?
Nothing to add.
Okay, if there's no questions, all those in favor? That's carried. That the reports of senior administrative officials reported as items 9.1 to 9.2.4 be received and filed. Councilor Vic. All those in favor? That's carried. That the Corporate Services Department monthly report be received and filed. Councilor Blair. And with that, we'll call on Maria.
Sure, I don't actually have anything to add to the report. It's pretty much business as usual, just working on budget, working on year end, preparing for audit, and day to day activity.
Do we have any questions for Maria today?
Just because once again, this is kind of new. Is that number where it says outstanding taxes, that's unpaid taxes as of the end of 2024?
That's correct.
that's normal, that's a standard average amount.
A lot get cleared up in January and when they get their tax notice,
Okay.
it's.
More money to it.
I just didn't know what that was.
That's right.
Okay, so if there's no other questions or comments, all those in favor? That's carried. The Community Services Department monthly report to be received and filed. Councillor Bass. And Derek.
Thank you. I really only have one thing to add. The 2Web got back to me today, and the app will be completed within the next 14 days.
Excellent.
They rebuilt the whole thing to fit to the Apple guidelines instead of fighting for the last 7 months like they have been to make it work. They just went to work for them. So, and I found that out today. That's why it's not on there.
I'm very excited with that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see that finished up. Are there any other questions or comments?
I just have, more out of curiosity, just because I don't know, on the Nipawin News and Notes, I noticed there's a QR code survey functionality. So I'm just curious at what kind of engagement that gets and what you do with that information, like if it's valuable information.
So the reason for doing it is to try and get people into getting used to scanning it and filling out a quick survey. Right now we're just trying to do like one answered surveys where they have nothing. It was new last month. I think we had 22 respondents. So I have nothing to compare to. So hopefully this month we have another one. And it's just, this one will be, I think it's, do you use your desktop or your phone to check the Nipawin website? Just, and it's quick information that's easy and just trying to get people so that when we do have something big to ask, they're used to going to it. Is so I don't have a answer for you on the
No, that's-
engagement.
I mean, that's all the hardest place to see it, I think
Yeah.
it's great, I think it's smart to get that engagement. That's it.
Any other questions? How are, well, I guess it's kind of towards a couple of people, I just seen it here, the historical posts are seeing some traction online for our 100th. So it's kind of a good thing to see.
I just wanted to make a comment. When I see some of the pictures, the one thing that I notice is the Welcome Cafe has been here since 1929 at least. And I'm pretty sure it's the same family group, but
Might be right. We can look into that for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah, I'll look into that for sure. Because yes, they're in every old picture.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the news, like the,
Yeah.
It'll be pretty interesting to know.
yeah.
We'll have it somewhere in a book. It'll be somewhere in a book.
Alright. No other questions or comments?
out to her. She comes here all the time.
Alright, all those in favor?
I never noticed that one. I always notice Harold's. His name isn't there before.
That the Protective Services Department monthly report be received and filed. Councilor Mueller. I know Paul is not here. Michelle, do you have anything you can comment on?
No, I can extend Paul's apologies. He had a family emergency happen later this afternoon, so he was able to be here. I can answer questions or get back to council if you have any questions, or get back to you with answers. The only comment I have right at the moment is we're still looking for an animal control officer. And it's a lot on our protective services department to go every time they get a phone call about a dog running on the street, but they're doing the very best that they can to take care of it. We're still advertising, and if anybody knows somebody, shoulder tap them, send them our way.
What are the hours for the animal control? I read it, but I don't remember.
Pretty much 24/7.
For 15 grand a month. For 15 grand a month.
Yeah, it's, and I mean, there are times when he shuts his phone off or the previous officer would shut his phone off if he was leaving town. but he would give somebody a heads up that he wasn't in town at that particular time.
Mhm.
So those are requirements?
You have to have some experience, I think at this point right now, we would train,
Answer the phone.
we would train anybody that, right, that seemed like they were a good candidate, a good fit. It's just really hard to attract somebody to a contract position that is all the time.
Mhm.
And I mean, for the right candidate, maybe we would change that, we would be thinking outside the box and doing something different, but right now we're doing the best we can to answer all of the calls that we get.
So, the animal control person is, also responsible for skunks and that kind of thing too, or is that, should be somebody else?
Skunks, yes. Animals like coyotes, no. Or, no, sorry, they tell us that that we should have a trap and we should be trapping everything, but, yeah, skunks has been written into the contract because he has a trap for them, and, but other animals we usually call resources.
Mine was, how many calls are we getting per week?
Yeah.
Two.
Two?
Well,
Looks like.
but there's a lot of calls, there's a dog running loose on the street and they go when they can't find the dog or, right, yeah, so.
And so it looks like just shy of 200 calls year to date, so.
These are dog animals that they've picked up, that they've returned to the owner, they've impounded them, cats, other calls, information requests. There's lots of times that they will go out and try to find an animal that they can't locate once the call has come in.
Oh, Derek, sorry.
There's about 2 to 4 a week that get taken to Honeywood that we post the services for. So there's 2 to 4 a week that Paul or Luke right now are handling every week. Never mind that's not counting the ones that they would find who the owner is because they have their respective tags or whatever. So
And they might not be impounded. Hollywood would return them to the owner, so.
Yeah.
Is the opportunity posted on the website?
Yes.
It is? Okay. Do you know, it is, okay. I'm just under careers and but it would be under bylaw, is that where it would be?
I think it's under tenders
Oh, under tenders, okay.
because it's contracted tender. So I think it would be under there.
Just curious question, since it's Paul doing a lot of this right now, is the deputy fire chief able to help a little bit as well with that, and has he been?
The fire chief, the deputy chief, and the bylaw officer.
Okay, just you said fire chief and the bylaw, so I didn't know if the deputy.
Yes, the
Yeah,
deputy.
they're-
Okay, so they all three of them are collaboratively.
They are.
Any other questions? Comments? I guess the only comment I would maybe pass on to Paul is for them to be cautious when they're doing their work around the sharps and stuff lately. Seems to be a pretty continuous
Yes,
issue.
that is something that I reiterate to them regularly. Be careful.
Well, they have sort of process policy for how they pick them up and everything.
Oh, yes.
And, yeah, we should be making sure they're following the law. And to do it what.
Yes, I believe.
Boyd and Asa would be all over that.
Oh,
Yeah.
they would be, yep, yeah, no, they follow policy, they have the equipment with them all the time, what they need to do,
Just no shortcuts.
absolutely.
Okay, there's no other questions or comments? All those in favor? That the 2025 budget be approved as presented. I was gonna say, who wants the budget? Okay, so we will open this up to, I think, Maria?
Sure.
So as I read it, or wrote in the report, we did discover that there was, the McDonald's servicing agreement amount was entered in twice. with only one offsetting reserve transfer to zero it out, so that made an extra, just about $100,000 allocated in the budget that just needs to be addressed. So, the recommendation by administration is to allocate that to the Evergreen with the upcoming renovations and repairs that need to be done there. But, we're open to suggestion from council if they want to, remove that altogether or allocate it elsewhere.
Okay.
I like the idea.
I do too.
Any other questions, comments?
I think we need to keep, there's gonna be a lot of expense at the Evergreen. This is reasonable. Part of me wants to just reduce the tax increase, but I don't think so. Not in this case. We don't
How
have
do you,
to
Lisa?
3.9 or something.
What do you guys think?
I mean, I would honestly be okay either way if we reduce the taxes a little bit or if we allocated it towards the Evergreen. I would be okay either way, cause I think both would be okay options, but I'm not opposed to either one, to be honest.
Lisa?
Yeah, I agree. I think they're both viable options and I'm okay with either one.
Yeah, whether you lower it this year and higher it and make it higher the following year, it would come out to a wash anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna be spending a bunch of money on the Evergreen,
Yeah.
unfortunately, you know, with repairs and maintenance.
Just even bring that building back to where it needs to be, without any of the good stuff that's gonna cost.
Yes.
Couple millions.
I'll just maybe speak to, because I don't have a report on it, as it has just happened and we've just received the invoice. The brine pump at the Evergreen in the ice plant did fail on last Friday. We were thankful it was cold out. We were able to turn off all the heat, open the doors, and save the ice while we waited for Stevenson to come and replace the brine pump. So we did keep the ice. We needed to do quite a bit of maintenance on it to get it back up. But that was a $20,000 invoice that we will now be paying. So there's that.
So lower taxes, right?
Right. And we did with the brine pump. That wasn't targeted as part of the renovation with the Evergreen. The ice plant room is actually in okay condition, but we had noticed that it had gotten quite a bit louder here over the last little bit, just before the ladies' last chance. So our supervisor was in the process actually of talking to Stevenson to get the parts to be able to repair that brine pump, and then it just, before we could even make a move on ordering the parts, the whole pump failed. So yeah. So that'll come to council next month, or next council meeting.
Les?
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what kind of shape is the ice plant? What's the,
Well, the chiller was replaced in 2013.
13?
Yeah, 2013, and the header trench was replaced just a couple years ago. So some of it's in okay condition. It's maintained well.
Compressor's only 4 years.
Oh, and the compressor's only 4 years old.
So it's probably 7 or 8, then it's probably in decent shape.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, sorry, you said out of 10. Yeah, it's in pretty good condition for the most part. The brine pump was probably one of the older pieces of equipment.
Still original. Still original.
Yeah. Like it was original. 85.
It was original?
Yeah. So, and the ice room, the ice plant room has received really, like we've been maintaining it. We do have the Stevenson or Simcoe come in. They do the startup and the shutdown, so everything is done properly. We do take a brine analysis each startup and shutdown, just to ensure that the chiller's not showing any signs of an issue. So we did have that actually happen in the Centennial. Our supervisor had sent away a brine analysis, which was the first year he had done it, and we caught a leak. We had to replace the chiller that year, but yeah, so we do take the proper steps to ensure that the equipment lasts as long as it can, but this one failed.
Well, for the brine pipe the last 40 years, it must be doing something right.
Yeah. So
So it sounds like we're all in agreement.
do my best.
I'm granted now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Alright, so is there any other questions or comments for the budget? My only comment is I think this is the earliest budget the town has presented in
Ever,
many
since I've been
years.
here.
So, thank you guys, to the administration for all the hard work you guys did, bringing this to the table as quickly as you did. So,
Thank you to the staff for everything, all the hours that were put in, it's much appreciated.
This was the easiest one I've been part of.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
easiest one for you too.
You knew all my questions before I asked them.
Alright, well, let's finalize it. All those in favor? That's carried.
Yeah, I think that's very true.
Okay, I'm gonna bear with you guys while I read through this next one.
Oh, yes.
So, this is our reserve transfers. The council hereby approves the following transfers to reserve in 2024. $139,385 to the future general capital reserve for use in 2025 towards the loan payment for the Evergreen Drive utility loop. $14,700 to the office reserve for use in 2025 to complete the interior renovation at the Enterprise Building. $12,108.98 to the Doctor Duplex Reserve for future use. $12,934.36 to the Office Reserve for use in 2025 to complete the SaskTel server project. $4,500 to the Cemetery Reserve for use in 2025 to purchase a safe for cemetery records. $5,587.14 to the Cemetery Reserve for future use. $128,908.70 to the Arena Reserve for use in 2025 to purchase a digital sign for the arena and for future use. $30,000 to the Arena Reserve for use for Hawks sponsorship. $465,959.19 to the Evergreen Reserve for upcoming repairs and renovations. $314,404.42 to the Recreation Reserve for use in 2025 for the multi-sport court. $48,246.35 to the Recreation Reserve for future use. $11,000 to the Swimming Pool Reserve for use in 2025 to complete replacement of the stair treads on the slide. $400,000 to the Landfill Reserve for completion of the scale and office project and for future use. $191,389 to the Landfill Decommissioning Reserve for use in 2025 and to complete the decommissioning project. $88,911.53 to the 3rd Street North Lift Station Reserve for use in 2025 to complete the project. $65,429.63 to the Urban Development Reserve for use in 2025 for ongoing official community plan and asset management. $15,000 to the Economic Development Reserve for use in 2025 for banner purchase. Who would like that? Councillor Watts. Do we have any questions or comments on these reserve transfers?
I could just make a comment in general. Some of the transfers were for projects that came in under budget, where savings were found. Some of them were for projects that didn't get completed last year for whatever reason. We may not have been able to find a contractor. And some of them are for invoices that are already paid, have already been paid in 2025, but in order to keep the 2024 accounting straight, then they get transferred to reserve at the end of 2024 and then come out to pay the invoice in 2025.
So no other questions or comments on this one? All those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby approves a triennial actuarial valuation for the vested sick leave benefits program prepared by Eckler with a valuation date of December 31st, 2024 at an approximate cost of $10,000. And I believe Maria could speak to this.
Sure. So, from what I gathered in the past, this was done sometimes on an annual basis. In being in contact with Scott Mossman from Eckler, the recommendation is that this is done every 3 years. Doing it more than that is kind of redundant, and it hasn't been done since 2021. So this year would be right on target to have that evaluation done again. And just simply to make sure that the liability that is out on our books is funded and that the proper accounting procedures are in place to validate.
Thank you, Maria. Do we have any questions or comments on this?
I just wanted to ask, this is something that came in the union negotiations, right? There was a reduction or different planning on sick leave accumulated.
Yes, so I think now in order to qualify for a payout, if they were to, at the time that they are done with their employment here, is now 20 years instead of 15.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So that is the major change to that, and that'll be addressed with this.
All right, thank you.
Do you have any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's good. Okay, the council hereby approves the cancellation of the existing agreement with the Sask Health Authority, SHA, for the use of space at the Nipawin Evergreen Center for the cardiac rehabilitation program, and that council approve the new agreement with the SHA for the relocation of the cardiac rehabilitation program to the Enterprise Center, beginning February 1st, 2025. The new agreement will maintain the current weekly rate of $280 plus GST and will run through January 31st, 2030. Sounds good. And I guess, looks like Derek, you can speak to this.
So yeah, this is just the standard agreement that comes with canceling the one at the Evergreen, moving to the Enterprise Center. I understand that they're not going to be able to move on Friday now because this is 4 days isn't enough time to go, but it'll be early next month. So it's there's no change in the cost for the rent, and it's just a straight across swap. But
Okay. Do you have any questions, Les?
Is the building ready for them? Is there any renovations that need to be done, or
it's done.
do they need anything special?
We put up a wall and a divider and just created an open space on one half. Have a new door in the front and a remote door opener so the wheelchairs can get in and out. Have been added.
You knew this was happening, you were prepared for it then?
Yeah. It's been in the works for 6 months probably.
It works out well for us too. With the rehab program at the Evergreen, we lose the rentable space for the pro shop, but then the exercise therapy program has to move into the curling rink in the golf season, and that's really inconvenient for him and for us, and it just becomes kind of a scheduling issue.
And there was nothing here anyway.
Correct. Yeah.
So it was an agreeable exchange then.
Yeah, I think he's quite happy to move. He won't need to move around now, twice a year, 4 times a year.
Very well supported by the clientele too.
Well, that's
Actually, when we had the meeting, there was 3 or 4 that came to support the move. So
oh, that's good.
And that's exclusive now on that, like, that's the only thing we're gonna have in that building, or?
Not yet, we still have offices, it's just the one side, the far side of the
Okay.
building, and then we
We're
still have some offices.
we're looking into further
Okay.
as we go, but we still gotta paint and do some stuff to the other half too.
Okay. That's excellent. Any other questions or comments? those in favor? That's carried.
Yeah.
Didn't quite get this through.
Welcome back, John.
Oh, yeah.
That the reports of standing and special committees recorded as items 10.1 to 10.4 be received and filed. Councillor Pass. All those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby approves the fee schedules for the Nipawin Evergreen Center, cemeteries, and playfields for 2025 as recommended by the Operations Standing Committee at the meeting held January 15th, 2025. Councilor Dick. And I think Chelsea will be able to.
Yes. So thank you. This was presented at the Operations Standing Committee meeting. We have a facility fees report attached that includes evergreen rates, the cemetery rates, and playfield rates. Those weren't addressed a couple of years ago. So what administration would like to do is to bring those rates to 2025 and then do a larger rate review with all of our rates, including the pool and the arena, in 2025 going forward for the following few years. So that's why you'll only see the few rates. The evergreen rates, administration is proposing to adjust those slightly just to follow how the facility's being used more so now. It clears up some inconsistencies with how we're renting out the spaces now. So that one addresses those costs. The cemetery rates would be our largest increase that we're proposing to council today. That is because we're really far behind on our cemetery rates. Our rates are extremely low when we compare them to other communities. So we're proposing a 10% increase on those rates for cemeteries, which gets us closer to other municipalities around us. We do have some people around the province that have suggested coming to be placed here because our rates are so much cheaper here. So we know we have to increase our rates. And then playfield rates, there's a lot of the province right now has seen an increase in the use of playfields, so this would include ball and soccer mostly. So there's a lot of different reviews being done within municipalities around the province. So we want to take this year and just see kind of where they settle at. Some are charging per team for, say, ball, but some are charging per season for ball. So we just want to see where they settle at this year because there's been quite a change and an increase in use of ball fields this year, or the past couple of years. So most municipalities are looking at their rates right now. So hoping to get a better idea at those, but we've suggested an increase in those as well for 2025.
Okay.
So is there any questions?
Thank you, Chelsea. Do we have questions? Lisa?
Just, were these rate increases considered in your budget, or how do you figure they'll impact it?
Yeah, so they won't, they will impact slightly. The cemetery will see a larger revenue, likely, but typically with cemetery revenues, if we're over the expense, we transfer that into reserve. So we know that and are aware of that for cemeteries. The rates for the evergreen were considered, but I'm quite conservative when it comes to revenues, and I don't want to jump it up too high just in case. So I stay on the conservative side usually when it comes to revenues, but we did look at them while we were doing budget just to compare a bit. So we have some increase in there.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Town of Nipawin does not sell land at the airport, but rather continues to offer land leases at this time, as recommended by the Operations Standing Committee at the meeting held on January 15th, 2025. That's what it was. And, yeah.
We had a request to see if the town was interested in at all of selling land at the airport instead of providing lease lots. And so I did a little bit of research on other airports, and they all sell, or they all lease land. They don't sell land. And then just considering our own operations, we figured it would be best to maintain leasing land at this point.
Do we have any questions or comments for Jeff? I guess the only question I have is, because we're not changing the way we're doing things, do we really need to have a resolution? That kind of surprised me. If we're just keeping business the way it is,
We had a request at the airport standing committee to
just because of that
purchase
request.
a parcel of land.
Okay. Alright, if there's no other questions or comments, all those in favor? The council hereby approves the amended policy number 1.1.2, agreements and leases policy, as recommended by the Operations Standing Committee at the meeting held on January 15th, 2025. Councilor Blair. Michelle, you want to speak to the changes?
To that. The changes recommended are for the land leases number 8 in the policy. Previously, all leases for parcels of land over 35 acres would have a public RFP issued prior to the expiration of the lease. And this amendment removes the 35-acre minimum and provides for all land, whether it's 35 acres, 30 acres, 100 acres. Because if we have somebody who has been leasing the land for many, many years and they can just keep renewing, if they lease for 15 or 20 years, then their lease amount is well below market value. So this requires every 5 years, 3 years, to issue an RFP, and that the person, the leaser, can put in another proposal and potentially win the RFP, but this brings all of our land leases within market rate.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Michelle. Do we have any questions or comments on this update? This change? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That the reports of committees and boards reported as items 11.1 to 11.2 be received and filed. Were there any questions on the board reports? Okay. All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, now on to the bylaws. No communications this week. That bylaw number 1190/25 being a bylaw for the maintenance and management of the waterworks and sanitary sewer systems be introduced and read a first time. Councilor Stewart. Michelle, who would you like to speak on this?
I can start, and then if Jane has anything to add, then we can. So the amendments in this are to change the titles. We've had position title changes, so that's housekeeping that. And then section 3 is the prohibition of grease disposal. So that is that we don't permit any person to discharge fats, oils, or grease or other substances that might cause blockages. We have had that in the past, and we've had no avenue to recover any of the costs from when responsibility for the cost is on the property owner. Only after we have done inspection with the sewer video camera so that we can identify it clearly exactly where the disposal comes from, and then they would be charged accordingly for the costs. Jamie, did you have anything?
Just 100% of the cost. Totally liable for it.
And we also, research was done into a number of other municipalities and their waterworks and sanitary sewer systems bylaws to include this as well.
Any questions? Jeff?
Do you have any research or video in place on cause we know there's gonna be hot areas where this has occurred in the past. So if we have our ducks in a row, we make sure that we have video of where it is currently, so then if it changes, we can prove where it is now. The burden of proof is always gonna be on us to prove it's coming from them, right? And proof is hard to find.
Not really, Jeff. You can see it right from their outlet into the main. It's just grease.
Already?
Oh, like in places, yeah. Like when we did Kentucky, when we serviced that, you could just, it's apparent. It's just like right where their drain comes in to the main.
Yeah.
It's just grease from there on. Like there's no
There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah, but we are still working on cameraing all of our mains in town, and then that will be tied to our asset management, and we'll have video on everything.
So we'll need to be able to show where it was.
Yeah.
So, so when they do fill it up again, they probably will.
Mm-hmm.
Les?
And we'll need to know where zero is too. Like, so KFC's half full right now when we implement this. Where do we start?
Yeah, I would just start right now.
Right.
Right now.
Yeah.
So what else was?
Like
Yeah.
these people have been all warned multiple times about grease trap cleaning and things like that. And we do have like these enzymes that we put in to the sewer to break down oils and fats. So we do some of that maintenance. But yeah, it's
I guess that's a better question. Have they been warned?
Yeah.
they have.
So we'll give them a signed, or nice copy of this bylaw when it's all finished.
Just gonna say.
And
Yeah,
take
we
to
would
it.
have to send it to all restaurants, yeah.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it to all.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no.
you gotta exclude it, yeah.
No, that way you're not saying one thing or another. They'll know, right?
When you guys are doing your inspections right now and going forward, if you, let's say, like, not so much on the restaurant side, but like, do you see issues with that in the residential?
Some places, yeah. Some people pour their fats from their frying pans right down the sink. But usually it clogs up their house before it gets us, right? So,
But if you saw something in those inspections, would
Yes.
you, as long as it wasn't like, if it's just starting,
yes.
you would reach out to them and
Oh, for sure.
monitor it?
Yes, we would even show them what's going on.
Okay.
That's the nice thing about the camera systems that we purchased last couple of years. We have like a robot camera that can go in the mains and do a whole, it can look everywhere. Yeah, so it's fantastic, yeah.
Is there ever oils from like automotive shops? Or
Not
just
that
all
I've
restaurants?
I've never seen anything like that, but there's all kinds of things that get dumped into the mop heads. Like, yeah, on night we pulled the mop head out. I don't know how it got there, but I think it come from Wagner.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, this bylaw is absolutely not targeted specifically
No.
at restaurants, it's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
for no person made. So houses, residential,
And-
everybody's treated the same.
And just to do 300 feet of pipe relining was $65,000. 300 feet ain't that much. And it cost us $65,000, so.
If we had to dig up the road and replace it, it would be way more.
Way more, because we would have to tear up the whole highway, yeah.
Basically, what it kind of
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's good. That bylaw number 1190/2018 chance to review. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1190/25 be given 3 readings at this meeting. So where? All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1190/25 being a bylaw for the maintenance and management of the waterworks and sanitary sewer systems be read a 3rd time and finally adopted. Take another opportunity, read through. Do you have any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1191/25 being a bylaw to regulate the Nipawin Municipal Airport and provide for airport authority, rules and regulations and fees be introduced and read for the first time. Michelle,
Sure, there's just a few changes, and they were done in consultation with the Airport Advisory Committee. And, the first change is section 2.12 about, dogs or other animals. Previously, it said unless authorized by the airport operator. We don't have a staff member out at the airport that they can ask for authorization from if somebody flies in or what, so we cleared that out to say that they're permitted if they're leashed and under the control of the owner responsible at all times. So, then, the next change is 3.11, that no vehicles, including aircraft, may be parked on the taxiway at any time. There has been problems brought forward to us from the committee that people park vehicles on the taxiway, or businesses out there park airplanes on the taxiway, and it's hard for other planes to get around them as they're trying to maneuver their aircraft. And the next one, is number 6.2, fuel storage. Previously, we had, that they were only allowed to store up to 100 liters of fuel for use in lawnmowers, and there are a number that will keep a small amount of aviation fuel in their hangar. And this just changes it, all it changes to is, it changes the type of fuel, that they can store the same amount, the same quantity of aviation fuel as they could gasoline for the use in lawnmowers. And we've got, and drones, section 9. They've also advised us that there's been a higher increase in the use of drones out of the airport, and the use of drones is coming more and more and more, and they can even be used to fight fires now, which is a good thing, but it's coming down the line that drones are much more popular and frequent. And so there are regulations that you're not allowed to fly a drone within a certain perimeter of the airport, and so operation of drones must comply with Transport Canada regulations at all times. Transport Canada regulate the use of drones. So those are the changes. Jamie, did you have anything else to add?
No, you said everything.
Do we have any questions? Les?
When was this evaluation done?
Which evaluation?
The inspection or the recommendation?
We had a meeting with the Airport Advisory Committee
That's the word I'm looking for.
just a couple of months ago. But we've been meeting with them regularly for the last year and a half, and this is something that they requested, that and administration also proposed some of the amendments.
Do they do this annually then, or just
No, we meet quarterly,
quarterly?
that committee, and I sit on that committee.
And they are an advisory committee, and it's the stakeholders at the airport, so they don't make decisions, they
Oh,
don't.
it's not a regulatory, like, it's not a.
No, it's not an airport authority, we are the airport authority, they just bring things forward to us, they make requests, they're the users of the airport, they're there
Gotcha.
on a regular basis, and so we take their recommendations, their advice, their requests, consider them, and then if they're reasonable requests, then we would bring it to council.
Nobody from Transport Canada or any regulatory body has come and said you gotta do this or do that?
No.
Jeff?
Just back to 6.3, the fuel storage, right? The way it reads, the way it used to read is they can have up to 100 liters of fuel, right? The way the next one reads is they could have multiple 100-liter containers. Fuel storage in hangars shall be limited to portable containers, jerry cans or small drums with a capacity of 100 liters of fuel. So each container, they could have 4 or 5 or 6 of them up there, all 100 liters, and they wouldn't be violating this. If that's what the committee wants, that's okay.
No, sorry about that, my apologies, we can change the word capacity to a limit, a limit of 100 liters.
I think that's enough in a building.
Yeah.
100 liters, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't
I
want.
think that was the intention, was it?
That was
Yeah,
the
that's
what I was
intention,
thinking.
and
But if you read it, you could do 3 or 4.
You could
absolutely
Yeah.
right, yeah.
We could have just total capacity of 100 liters.
Right, yeah,
That's fine.
so, yeah, we
Good
can add
catch.
the word total in front of capacity.
Yep.
Okay. Everybody likes that change?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1191/25 be read a second time. Counselor Moyer. Any other questions or comments? We just have that one singular change that we're looking at making to limit the capacity. Any other thoughts? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1191/25 be given 3 readings at this meeting. Councilor Watts. All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1191/25 being a bylaw to regulate the Nipawin Municipal Airport and provide for airport authority, rules and regulations and fees be read a third time and finally adopted. Councilor Bueller. So we've only got one change in there that we're making on top of yours. Do you have any other questions or comments, thoughts? Last opportunity. Alright, all those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1192/25 being a bylaw to provide for regulation and control of town-owned cemeteries be introduced and read a first time. Councilor Stewart. Michelle, we'll start with you.
Sure, and this amendment is again housekeeping with our job titles, and it is also to remove the fee schedule, the rate schedule from the bylaw. So we don't have to have a new bylaw every time we change the fees. And the memorial marker application permit application, that is we still have the application, it's just removed from the bylaw itself so that we can make changes as required. Chelsea, did you have anything else to?
No, that's it. Just cleaning them up, and we don't require either of those to be in the bylaw, so that we can adjust them if needed.
Thank you guys. Do we have any questions or comments on this one? This one's pretty straightforward. Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1192/25 be read a second time. So we're just doing some cleanup in this one, removing a few things. Any questions, any comments? All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1192/25 be given 3 readings at this meeting. Council to the left. All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1192/25 being a bylaw to provide for regulation and control of town-owned cemeteries be read a third time and finally adopted. So we're doing some cleanup in this bylaw and removing a little bit at the end. Last chance for questions, comments. Alright, all those in favor? That's carried. Rick, that bylaw number 1193/25 being a bylaw to fix rates to be charged for the use and consumption of water and to fix the rates to be charged by way of rent or service charge for the use of sewer facilities be introduced and read a first time. Councillor Sweet. Michelle.
Sure, this bylaw was just updated in 2024, but this amendment is to identify this, what constitutes summer and winter for the different rates in the fee schedule. And it just identifies that summer is considered April 1st to September 30th, and winter would be October 1st to March 31st. It's just much more difficult, and it takes a lot more work than time to do reinstatement of fees and turn-ons and turn-offs in the winter time than it does in the summer. This just clarifies it in the bylaw for when we charge that fee.
Anything else, Jamie?
We're looking actually, just a heads up, it's gonna be coming down the pipe here shortly, but Neptune is coming out with water meters that you can automatically shut off right from your cell phone. So our utilities officer can shut water off right from his cell phone. And so that's something that we're looking into.
As long as it doesn't malfunction, we smile.
Just like everything else electronic.
Yeah.
And it does, that is a good thing for our staff members, because when they're going out to a home to turn somebody's water off and that individual is upset, is volatile, that's actually a very good added protection for our staff members.
And it's very hard on our infrastructure too, when you're shutting off every month, certain shut-offs.
Yeah.
It's, cause
And
it's
as
very
they get
expensive.
older, there's a higher likelihood of breaking.
Well, yeah, they start leaking, things like that, right? And it's expensive to repair.
Which will come in handy for repair too, for the homeowner themselves.
Yeah,
So would this be like something added to their existing meter?
I'd know we'd have to switch out the meters.
So all the meters eventually would have to get switched?
Yes, not all, some. It's just, if there's problem ones, then that's something we can put in, so it just limits us from going there on a regular basis.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1193/25 be read a second time. Councilor Mudo. So it is just a fairly simple change here, not too much Chaffney. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That bylaw number 1193/25 be given 3 readings at this meeting. Thanks, Vic. All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1193/25 being a bylaw to fix rates to be charged for the use and consumption of water, and to fix the rates to be charged by way of rent or service charge for the use of sewer facilities, be read a third time and finally adopted. Councilor Fast. So we've just got a few clerical changes and everything in there. Any questions or comments? Alright, all those in favor? That's carried. Alright, moving on to the round table. Why don't we start with Jeff today?
Don't have anything to report. Joyce can report on the film night, so she was the one that sat there. I couldn't make it that day. I'm assuming that our meeting on Thursday, the 30th, is canceled, right? Yes. We just passed the budget. Yeah. That's when I'll hang out.
Unless council wishes to meet
Joyce?
What did I do? I attended the operation meeting, which is what a lot of these bylaws changes came from. And I did attend Twin Lakes, and we discussed the heliport funding, and everything is good. I think there's some checks that's gonna be reimbursed to the town of Nipawin and the Perch River. So it's all looking good, and I noticed that when I was at the hospital yesterday that the helipad's been cleaned off a little bit, so, and that they're looking for a special kind of snow blower and special training is what I heard through the grapevine, nobody official. And then I attended the budget meeting that we saw today, plus I attended the meeting for the possible changes at the Evergreen and the upgrade that's probably required on a 40-year-old building. And I've talked to a few people about that, and they seem to think that it's probably necessary just to maintain it, because it will cost a lot more to rebuild. And on the community side, I attended the East Pleasant View Park Rink meeting. Got some logos coming up and different things, some changes there. Also Rotary meeting, we discussed the East Pleasant View Park fundraising and getting together with Ms. Corrigan to do some planning. And I think that is it.
Thank you, Joyce. Lisa?
On January 15th, I attended the Wapiti Valley Regional Park Authority Board meeting, which was done over Google Meet, so that was convenient. They reported that the hill's been busy since opening day. They had a strong turnout before Christmas, which led into an excellent holiday season, including 625 visitors on New Year's Eve day. They've got some upcoming night skiing scheduled. They've got 4 night skiing in between February and March, and their school bookings are totally sold out. They've got a waiting list, so they've got 250 students visiting per day, and they're looking for ski instructors, more than one, particularly for the school groups, and we've started to look into ways that they can utilize the hill during the off season. On January 21st, I attended the Municipal Leaders Roles and Responsibilities session in Prince Albert with Councillor Newdorf and Councillor Blair, which was a great opportunity to gain insights into governance. It was a repeat of a lot of the things that we learned in the George Cuff conference. I would actually venture to say that conference was more beneficial, but it was great, to reiterate that sort of things and yeah, then we got home just in time for the special meeting of council where we were presented the schematic design for the evergreen.
You could,
Took the words out of my mouth. Obviously I was with her at the SUMA meeting in Prince Albert, and then we came back here to a special meeting with the architects, that presented for the Evergreen. And then I was in touch with Jan Bougen about the library committee, which is still up in the air when they're gonna be meeting, but they're hoping to in February. So we now have an email group chat that we're coordinating with, but nothing's been set in stone yet.
Guess what? I went to the meeting. It was an experience, wasn't it? But yeah, it was a lot of the same information again. But sometimes, like me, I need to hear it 3 or 4 times. But this thing again, so a lot of conflict of interest and those typical kind of council things that you need to remember. Other than that, it's been a pretty quiet couple weeks. Send kudos out to Jamie and his team for the snow removal and the wind and stuff that we had to deal with over the last couple of weeks, and so did a good job there.
We'll let them know.
And so I think that's all I got.
thank you, Wes. Stacy.
I don't have much because we didn't have a park meeting.
All right.
Yeah.
So on January 24th, I attended the Northeast Area Transportation Committee. I've been part of this committee for a while, and unfortunately I haven't made it to a meeting until this one. So just give you a bit of a highlight on what the committee is. The main purpose is to make recommendations for highway projects within our district. And they make the recommendations once a year to the provincial government. And now they accept all of the municipalities within our district can submit, and then from all of them that are submitted, 5 projects get sent forward to the provincial government. And our area covers from Shipman to the Manitoba border, and then at Choice Land, south to Melfort, but not including Melfort, down Highway 6 to Defoe, and then east to the Manitoba border. That's our district. It is one of the largest ones in the province, and we only get to submit 5 projects a year. Submissions for the 2025 year were already completed. The downside is there was no correspondence sent out to any of the members. So if you were not at the meeting in September, which I also wasn't made aware of either, they never communicated it, you didn't know you could submit, and the deadline was October. So, unfortunately, there's some operating issues within that committee that I definitely made them aware going forward, so hopefully we'll see some changes there. Now, the submissions that came through for 2025, so Highway 9 at the intersection of 983, and then traveling north for 30 kilometers, and Highway 49 and Highway 9 traveling north, Highway 49 at Priestville traveling west. So those 3 projects are all down south. The 4th one, Star City to Melfort, they wanna add passing lanes and just widen the shoulders. And the last one, which is the one which will relate to most of us, Highway 55, Shoal Lake to mile 28. So of these projects, the 5 that we sent forward, there's no guarantee that any of them get chosen. There's 11 districts, we all produce 5 choices, that's 55. The government typically will choose 5 or 6 total. So we could be on the list for a while, but that's what the committee is looking at right now. On January 15th, I attended the Operations Committee meeting, which, like we talked about, that's pretty much most of what our meeting today covered. So, January 21st was the special meeting of council where we talked about the Evergreen design. Also on the 21st in the early afternoon, I attended a meeting with MLA Terry Brome in Tisdale in her office. basically we covered, Gateway Keewatin and, the Northeast Area Transportation Committee and Highway 55, bringing her up to date on the history of everything we're advocating for on the highway and, just the economic impacts that will bring to Nipawin area. I also did talk to her at that time about the heliport clearing concerns that were brought up. She actually called me back this morning, they have purchased the special equipment, and that's why it is cleared. It's part of their maintenance project, so we shouldn't have any more issues with clearing that. Theoretically.
I'll call off one.
Yeah, it sounds like their snow removal contracts have all been amended now to include the heliport. So, and that's everything that I've taken care of.
And Jamie actually has something that he would like to add to this, if that was okay with council.
Absolutely.
We got our new office out at the Landfill dropped off last week. And the pleasant surprise is in the RFP, we did not have all the appliances, and when they delivered, all the appliances were with the unit.
Really?
So that's a washer, dryer, fridge, stove, dishwasher, microwave.
Good point, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought, at least 5.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so if anybody wants to come, it's just sitting on the ground right now, but if anybody wants to come take a look at it, you're more than welcome, grab the keys and you can go for a little tour.
I'll wait till you put the heat in.
Yeah, there you go.
It's warmer.
But yeah, it should, I'm very, very happy with it. It's got like all the window fixtures, blinds, it's got, for breaking and enter on all the windows, the
Bars.
steel bars put in. Yeah, I'm very impressed.
Excellent. That's great news.
Yeah,
It's nice seeing some of these projects coming to a close.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, as you can see, we have a very large public forum today. So, that the regular council meeting of January 27th, 2025 be closed with Mayor Zacharias in the chair pursuant to Section 122A of the Municipalities Act and citing exemptions contained in the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act under Section 17, Economic and Other Interests, and Section 122B of the Municipalities Act concerns long-range or strategic planning at 8:23 p.m. Councillor Watts. All those in favor? That's carried.
Do we have anybody watching online there today?
Not anymore, no.
Not anymore.
I used to watch them all.